let's have a conversation. What's up, everyone? I still don't know what is going on with my computer. I don't know what's happening with it. I'm sorry, but I've been experiencing issues with my computer for the past couple of days. So, hi again, Melody. What's up, Justin? Hey, Miss Nappy Kid. All right. So, for anyone who hasn't watched this yet, I guess you could call this a spoiler, but the episode already aired on the East Coast. And by a vote of 8-1, Izzy was evicted from the Big Brother house. The thing that we were all wondering if this was going to happen or not, was Izzy going to reveal the secret to anyone on the way out? No. Izzy did not reveal the secret. So the secret went out the door with Izzy, or so it would have had Jared not told the secret to Blue. I mean, people are on the trail regardless. People are on the trail regardless of the reasons why Jared and Izzy are working together. Jared and Cirie are working together so tightly. But in terms of them knowing that specific secret, their person that knew the secret is out. But then Mr. Talks Too Much revealed the secret to Blue. So there's still somebody in the house that knows. There's still a person in there that could potentially use it against them. All right, let me get to these comments really quick. That was fire. Izzy's exit was wild. You know what? I'm so glad that I'm a live feeder, because if I was not a live feeder, I would have thought that Izzy's exit was because of Corey, because that's what the edit made it look like. I'm like, what in the world? Where was this whole thing with Cameron in America where Cameron was like, I'm going to blow this up, where he had all these conversations with the whole house and said, you have to get Izzy out? Cameron is the one who's mainly responsible for flipping those votes, and they gave the credit to Corey on the edit. See, I don't care. I'm not even trying to say this like, I'm not saying this in terms of who I like more, who I don't like more. I'm literally just saying, show what's actually happening. I just don't like when what is happening is not being accurately portrayed. By the way, y'all, Cirie is already off the wall comp. Cirie is like, you could tell Cirie is like, I'm not even giving an attempt to win these endurance comps. I'm just going to sit every endurance comp out until we get to some kind of a thinking comp or mental comp where it benefits me to win. But I think that she's also being smart, because obviously Cirie is not going to beat out America, Mimi, Matt, even Jared. Like, there's a bunch of people that she's not going to beat out. So it's like, why am I even going to stay on this wall? She cracks me up. I felt bad for Izzy, though, for real, because at the beginning, I didn't really like Izzy, but I started to feel bad for her, especially watching her last week in the house and realizing that she sacrificed her game because of how much she likes Cirie and how much she's a fan of Cirie. And obviously, Cirie, what she said in her exit thing, she was like, you're invited to all the family dinners. You're a part of the family now. I think she really meant that. I do. I think that at first she was working with her out of necessity, but I think that over time she started to like her, value her. And yeah, I think that she actually has a bond with her that will last outside of the house. which to me is not worth more than 750K. But hey, man, different strokes for different folks is all I can say about that. Live from Texas. Hey, Justin. Hey, Joshua. I'm sorry. There's a Justin from Texas. Hey, Joshua. Welcome to the live. Appreciate you being here. Felicia dropped. Oh, Ebony, do you still want to hop on? I didn't know. I sent you an email. Do you still want to hop on? Let me know. If you want to hop on, you can still hop on. Corey didn't look too. He looked so. But it wasn't about the Izzy part, actually. I think he was annoyed because of that argument that he had with Jared earlier. America's out. America is out. I'm seeing a "we'll be right back" screen on my thing. So interesting as heck. Everyone was saying this was her comp. Are you serious? I'm not saying Corey didn't work hard. I'm just saying he was not the catalyst. Let me scroll down and see. You know what? I'm just gonna put the StreamYard link, and if you're still able to do this, hop right on. That's what I'm gonna do, because keeping up with the comments. Okay, here we go. I'm looking at the feed on my phone. I can't believe America is out. That's so critical for like Corey. So she fell legitimately? How did she fall? Am I starting menopause? Like she slipped. Is that what you're trying to tell me? She slipped and fell. Jeez. Was that Tennessee? You're from Tennessee? I have a friend that lives in Nashville that I'm hoping to visit at some point. You can hop on. I just put the StreamYard link in the chat, so you can just click on it anytime and hop on whenever you are ready. I can't believe she like. What are y'all telling me right now? I cannot believe that. We're only. What time is it? Everyone said America was a front runner to win this thing, and she's off in less than 30 minutes. Sheesh, what is happening in this world right now? I can't understand the hype about America. Yeah, Ebony, I threw the link. If you can see the link, I threw the link in the chat. So if you want to hop on, just click on the link and you can hop on anytime. She leaned forward and fell. I can't believe. I'm flabbergasted. Hold on a minute.
Hey.
Hold on a minute. My computer is being funky right now. Wait a minute. There we
What?
go.
Me down too?
What'd you say? Did somebody say Mimi? What the heck?
Yes.
Yo, these are all the people that I picked to win this competition. What in the
Right.
world?
Me too. Yes. Except for Matt. I think Matt, well, typically, first of all, hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, sorry I didn't introduce you. Welcome again. Ebony was here. Was it Sunday? Sunday,
Yes,
right?
Sunday after the HOH show.
Yeah, and you gave us a great breakdown, and thanks for being back here again for this crazy day and eviction day.
Oh, yes.
I thought America would do. I mean, I thought so too. So I'm shocked that you guys are telling me that they were two of the first three that fell.
Yeah,
Crazy.
typically on a wall comp, it always seems like either like I think Matt would be in a good position to win too because he's pretty athletic. It's always someone who's either very slender that can, kind of hug the wall, or someone who is very athletic. So that's why I was like, America, this could be a good one for Mimi, Matt, even Bowie, even though she's complaining about losing that muscle weight, she may do good in that.
Somebody said that Corey is down too. This has got to be a joke. Like, what's happening right now? They do
I
like a
don't want
14
Jared to
hour
win.
pressure cooker. Cirie didn't try. We know. America's down. Oh yeah. Oh, you can't see it. I should
No.
take this off. Corey is sitting right next to her. I can't believe
Really?
this right now.
Oh my gosh.
Corey went down. Yeah. Anyways, I want to know what your thoughts are. Did you see the live feeds today?
I watched the feeds earlier today. I think I haven't seen any feeds since probably around noon, maybe one-ish my time. It's been a hectic day. But I haven't
Ooh,
seen,
so
I've been looking at
you
chatter,
missed the
of
crazy fight.
everyone like, so I'm breaking up. Can you hear me?
Now I hear you. Now I
Okay.
hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying that I haven't watched the feed since earlier today around noon or so, but I've been seeing just some of the posts on Facebook or YouTube. And last thing I saw, I know they were saying like Izzy and Cirie were getting kind of suspicious, like no one was talking to them. The normal like, hey, once we know you're out, we kind of distance ourselves thing. But I hadn't really seen any of the conversations.
Okay. So what did you think of the episode?
The
I can't
episode was
believe you
good.
moved
I was
up. What did you
wondering
think of
because
the
I
episode?
hadn't watched since I hadn't watched the most recent feeds. I was curious if the house had flipped back, how they normally do. And I was like, oh, I hope they stick to their guns and they actually vote out Izzy. Even though I was sad to see Izzy go, I shed a tear. I was sad to see her go,
Hmm.
and I feel like Cirie's message was very heartfelt. And I do feel like they will literally probably spend Thanksgiving together once they're out the house. But it was sad to see her go, but she really was the best person to go. But I'm glad the house has flipped. There's been a power shift, and now we'll start to see some real big brother, hopefully. It's crazy that Cerie's already down because at this point it's kind of like her and Jared against everyone else. And then it's interesting to kind of see where Felicia goes from here
It
too.
is.
Man, crazy though.
Felicia. Oh yeah, to see like if she sticks. Yeah, to see if she sticks with them or if she's like, well, you guys are in the minority now. But the thing with Felicia is she's gonna be at the bottom of the other side anyways.
Hmm.
So it's kind of, but I still think that she's just gonna go with whoever's in power.
Yeah, that's why this head of household is so important.
Yes. But the
I
thing
think
is, I
Matt.
feel like now. Mhm.
No, I was
What
gonna
about
say,
Matt?
yeah, I think Matt could win this. This could be his comp, especially since America and Mimi are already down.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Let me see. I'm way behind on these comments. Okay, America is down. Blue, Jared, Bowie, and Matt. Are you saying those are your favorites? Because there's more in there than that, right? Or is that the only people left? There's only four of them left. Sheesh.
It hasn't even been a well, I guess it hasn't even been an hour since the show went off.
I was just sitting on here saying I'm not sitting up here all night watching the wall comp, and I'm like, how are more than half of the people off of the wall in like 30 minutes?
Oh, they're all glued up.
Oh, that is nuts. Oh, you're looking at the feeds too? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Cirie
it's
was the
only
first.
what
I was not
five
surprised
people
about
left.
Cirie.
It's only 5 people left.
Oh, wow.
That was
Cam's
fast.
probably looking at this like, man, I wish I was in this comp.
The good thing is
Jag
Felicia,
fell.
Cirie, Jared's still up there though, but Cirie and Felicia are down. Jared might actually win this.
This might end during this thing might end during this live. I was like, I'm gonna be on here an hour, and this thing is gonna go half the night. Wow. Cameron said, "I'm so happy Jag is gone now. Jag is gone too." Are you guys seeing me clearly? I mean, seeing and hearing me clearly. Are you hearing me clearly, Ebony?
I'm hearing you
Is
clearly.
it does it okay? Because my
Your
computer's
picture
been
is
giving
kind
me
of
issues.
grainy though, but I feel like my picture is a little grainy too.
Yeah, well, that's just because I haven't been using my webcam. I need to start using it again. This is the computer cam. Yeah, Cirie definitely throws the cam. She was off at like 9:10 Eastern.
Well, this isn't a
Like 10 minutes after.
competition to be like at this point. Your cards have already been shown. You shouldn't be throwing competitions at this point in the game.
Yeah, I agree. I hope Jared or Blue win and put Amara Corey on the block. I am Team Cirie. I'm rooting for Cirie too, but Cirie, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm rooting for Cirie too, but it's like her road to win this game is so hard because she's not winning comps, and now that the game has been exposed the way that it is,
Yeah.
there's very few people now. Everyone has courage to put her on the block.
Yes, all that insulation she's had
before this week, everyone was scared, but yes, it's gone.
Yeah, all that insulation is just
This thing done.
gone. But I still want to see Cirie in the game, but I want Jared out. I would like to see Cirie play without Jared in the house. I feel like he is bad for her game. But it'll be interesting
Jared
now
is a
that
liability
Izzy is
for
gone.
sure.
Now that Izzy is gone, it'll be interesting to see if their game changes, because I feel like even though Izzy was kind of protecting them, they still had to kind of walk on eggshells because of the fact that Izzy knew their secret, especially Jared. So it'll be interesting if we see him a little bit more, vocal and, making more bold moves now that she's gone. Without Matt is down. Oh my gosh.
I know. I was just looking at that.
The BB gods must be upset.
I know, right? Who's left? Jared,
I can see
Blue.
Bowie winning
Who's the
this
other one?
though.
Bowie's off. Oh, Bowie's on. Oh, is that Bowie? Jared, Blue, and Bowie. Is that who's on there? Imagine if Bowie wins. Wouldn't that be so crazy and random?
I can see her winning though.
Matt down.
I wonder if they're throwing this, because this is so fast.
I'm wondering. I've never seen such a fast wall comp. Like, this is kind of crazy to me. I agree, Sheena, that Jared brought her a lot of info in the beginning, but then he just dug his own grave by talking so much. I know people said this season was boring. And that, yes, they said, oh, yeah. And I'm like, you're saying that at day 30, 40. It's such a long game. It can change just like that. I never thought it was going to be an easy road for her. I thought it would get harder from about the midway point.
No, I thought it was an easy win for her with Jared being in the house. Plus, Mm-hmm.
Maybe at the beginning, like when I didn't know Jared and I didn't see Jared talking, but after after I heard him speaking a little bit, I'm like, yo, this guy tells so much unnecessary stuff.
Yeah. But if no
He
one,
gives me used
if
cars.
people in the house were able to keep secrets, then they would have stayed insulated and they could have went very
Yeah.
far. They would have at least went maybe top 7, top 6. But the fact that everyone talks and no one could keep a secret was like the death of their game. It's the detriment to everyone's game, honestly.
Cameron, you must not have caught the live feeds today to ask me how Jared is a liability. Because of Jared's mouth right now and telling that lie and saying that Jag told him about voting out Izzy, his whole game just exploded from there. Like he just and then Corey used that as a time to throw Cirie's name in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jared, Cirie, and Felicia have been working together and they've been spreading lies in the house. He's def. I mean, he helps her by winning comps. Don't get me wrong, but overall, he's not doing well in terms of the social aspect right now.
Yeah. Even look at just this week when Cirie was in the canoe or kayak with Felicia, then it's like he did so much damage. Like as soon as Cirie got out of that canoe, she had to go do so much damage control because of how Jared had just ran amok in the palace while she was kind of tandem with Felicia.
Mm-hmm. No, you're so right. I can't believe there's just three of them on there. That's what's tripping me out.
It's been
We've been
40
on
minutes.
for 20 minutes, and most Matt through. I wouldn't be surprised. Jared, yeah, he plays the game recklessly. He's so opposite of Cirie. Cirie is like cerebral. She takes her time. She pays attention to what's happening. She's like measure twice, cut once. Jared just thinks of something and thinks it's a good idea. He won't run it by anybody. He just automatically is gonna go and do whatever he's gonna do and be like, "Trust me, bro. Trust me. I know what I'm doing, bro."
So it's just Bowie,
Bowie, Blue, and
Jared, and
Jared.
Blue left.
Yep.
Um,
Jared and Blue will be so happy if Bowie falls.
yeah, I think Blue would throw it to Jared if
I
Bowie
think so.
falls.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, bro. Reno. That people take it to levels that are beyond the show with this hate stuff. Oh, you didn't watch the feeds today. Well, I know you didn't watch the feeds with telling me how is he a liability. How about them picking Josh Martinez and calling him a legend? I'm sorry, Josh Martinez fans, but I
Of all
no,
the
I don't think.
people, of
Do
all
you
the
think he's a legend,
people,
Ebony? Is it just me?
I, I do
I mean,
not.
is it
You
just me who
know,
thinks he's not a legend?
I would have rather seen a Paul as a meatball.
I mean,
Paul is a legend to
I know,
me.
right? Even with finishing second, I agree. I agree with you. I feel like there's some people who win and are not legends, and there's some people who don't win that are still like Big Brother legends that people remember.
Jared won.
He won already? I was just looking at it like 2 seconds ago. I didn't see that
I
anyone
know, right?
fall. Man, Bowie must have fell. I feel like Bowie must have fell and then Blue must have topped off. This is crazy. I sat on here 2 hours ago and I was like, I'm not going to be one of those people that stays up for hours watching the end of this. And it ended way before my live is supposed to end.
It ended
If
before it
Jared won,
it ended before the episode
40,
even aired in California.
in the West Coast. Yes. Honestly, I'm happy that Jared won just because I know that everybody would have put him on the block and it would have been a predictable week. So I feel like this is going to make this week very entertaining,
Yes,
especially after that huge fight he just had with Corey and Cam
yes.
being so hardcore against him because he has so many enemies to choose from of who he would put on the block.
Yeah, he's probably gonna put America and Corey up and probably still backdoor Cameron.
You think so? You think America and Corey? Oh, yeah, America and Corey and backdoor Cameron. But at this point, I wonder if Corey is more dangerous to his game than I think he would be petty too.
Oh, true.
I
He's
think he would
already
be
said he's
petty.
petty.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you saw that live the other day when he was having that conversation with Jag and Blue,
Uh,
and he was like, "Oh, you pretty much just have to accept that I'm petty because I already told you guys. What will they even edit?" Let's get our popcorn ready. Corey, America or Cam is out next week. That's true. That's definitely going to be his choices. It's just a matter of who does he put on the front door and who does he put on the back door. But I think it would be like you said, probably America Corey on his initial nominations and Cam through the back.
mm-hmm. And then, because even though everyone's kind of been reshaping their alliances, Cameron is still on the outs with everybody, right? No one was like, we should include Cameron in our path going forward. So if he goes on the block, he's definitely going to go home.
No, I feel like they used Cam, especially America. The show didn't edit it that way, but I feel like, I mean, I watched America gas him up. So America was like, if you're gonna be willing to be the guy that tells everybody, Izzy's got to go, Cirie's got to go, Jared's got to go, I'm gonna just let you do that, and then I'm gonna ride behind
Mm-hmm.
you, and then once we get them out, we get you out afterwards. I feel like that's the way they're thinking.
Yeah.
We'll let you work with us, and they're like, you want to win every comp, obviously, so you're probably going to win another comp or two, and we'll let you take shots at all those people that we were trying to get out, and then once
Right.
it's it's going to be all of us against you, and then we reset the game. And
Yeah.
it makes sense,
Oh,
honestly.
this is going to be another interesting week. I love it when the power shifts from week to week because I think that's what keeps the game
Yes,
interesting.
it's exactly because it's like it looks like it's going one way, and then all of a sudden the person nobody wanted to win, like when Cam won last week. I wasn't mad at Cam winning, even though I wasn't rooting for Cam. I was still like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, Cam winning is going to make this week interesting because it was a foregone conclusion that he was going out. I literally cannot stand Cameron, but I want him to win for the mess, and the exact same with Jared. Yeah, I want him to win for the mess. Oh, is next week double eviction?
Yes.
And what do
And the
y'all?
jury twist.
I was about, yes. Go ahead and tell them the jury twist. I was about to say that.
So, yeah, Julie announced at the end of the episode that there is going to be a jury twist in honor of the 25th season of Big Brother. They are going old school. They are going back to the 7-person jury, which is huge because I don't think anyone other than Cirie has really been counting jury votes. And I think that's why it also sucked that Izzy went out because she definitely would have been a guaranteed jury vote for Jared or Cirie if they made it to the end. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of shift, because at this point everyone's like, oh, okay, we need to get this person out before jury, this person. And so now that you only have 7 people, oh, you know, you have to change that strategy up a little bit more.
I like that.
So
Yeah, I like that.
yes.
Yep. Because they're thinking, oh, we're gonna go. Jury is starting this week. That's how they were playing. That they were assuming that this week was gonna be jury, and you saw their
Mm-hmm.
faces when she made that announcement. Nobody looked happy about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that gave Jared a little bit of fire too to want to win.
Yes.
Yeah,
Can't wait for the double eviction. That's gonna be so
I know.
exciting.
And so if there's going to be a double eviction, I think that also means that there's going to be a jury battle back. And they haven't done a jury battle back in what, 4 seasons or so. And since when Julie said, you know, because it's the 25th season, I've noticed in every episode they're kind of going back and kind of bringing something back from a previous season. So I'm wondering if they're going to do the battle back for jury. That would
That
be
would be
nice.
that'd be awesome. That would be awesome. So it wouldn't be. I don't think it would be Izzy, right? So
No, it would be
how
the last
like how
eight.
many
So at
people?
8. So it'll be no 9, because there's going to be 7 jurors
9. Okay,
plus the two
so it
people
would.
at the finale.
No, I hope that happens. That would be really cool. That would be really exciting. If they brought back the battle back, I think they will. It looks like Jared fell only seconds after Blue and Bowie almost a photo finish. That's interesting. What is it? Can I join in a bit? Yeah, you can join, but it's showing as device not connected. America's fun, at least unlike Jared. I think Jared is really entertaining. I think he doesn't play the game well, but I'm definitely entertained by him. He impregnated a couch.
Yeah, he's
What are you
entertaining.
saying? This is gonna be a wild week. I agree. I know I'm behind on these comments. I was shocked. I thought Blue was gonna take it. Um, Sorry about that. There's a lot of comments. I'm gonna have to skip some of these. So, who do you think had the best week, and who do you think is at an advantage this week? I mean, obviously, aside from Jared, who won the HOH.
Well, prior to this HOH competition, I would say that America probably had the best week. I think even though people are still saying they don't trust her, like they've been saying that for so long, but all of the information that they're finally validating, America has been telling them for weeks at this point. So I think she probably had the best week, but with Jared being HOH, is going to go from the best week to the worst week, pretty quickly, right? Other than that, I would say Felicia probably had a good week, knowing that they flipped the house. She's still staying. She's bought a little bit more time in the game. It's just interesting to see how she kind of navigates these relationships. I'm pretty sure her and Mimi are going to chat it up. We'll probably see that on the feeds later tonight and kind of paint a path forward, hopefully. But we'll see where they go, especially with Jared winning HOH. I can see Mimi and Felicia being like, listen, like, you know, every week someone has to go home. Like, you know, it's a new week. Let's just have a fresh start. I could see them kind of playing that card and going back to that side. So we'll see. It's going to be
Oh,
interesting.
I totally agree with you there because that's the card they've been playing this whole game. They've been like, yeah, people have to go home. I was kind of cracking up when Bowie was so upset about Red going home. and they were so unsympathetic towards her. She was crying, and they were
Yes.
like, you need to stop crying.
Oh my goodness.
It's not
I was like, Felicia is being a black mama right now. Like the way she is talking to Bowie, like, put your big girl panties on.
if y'all don't know about black mamas, there was this time I was in the store like a few years ago, and I still remember this because I don't see parents like this all the time these days. But this little boy, he picked up this belt, and the mother was in the line checking out, and she was like, "Boy, where'd you get that belt? Put that belt down." And he was like, "No." She asked him a second time, like, to put the belt down, and he said no again. And she said, "Matter of fact, how much was that belt?" And she looked at the price, and she was like, $9.99. I'm gonna buy that belt, and I'm gonna whoop you with that same belt that you're not putting down. He ran and threw the belt so fast. You're right. You could tell that Mama Fee is the old school
Yes.
tough love. Like, get over it.
Yes. She holds nothing back in the house.
No, when she wants and when she feels a way, she'll jump right in somebody's face and just be real direct. Forget the game.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. And I think she said she watched the show, but I guess she just isn't aware of like how you move in your everyday life. You can't move like that in the Big Brother house when you're around these people 24/7. Like some things you just have to kind of brush off your shoulder and it's like, look, this isn't important. Like complaining about the lights being on, complaining to production about not having seasonings. I'm like, Felicia has no chill at all.
And exactly, like these were some of the things that got her on the block. She could have coasted, but trying to strong arm people and complaining and telling them, "Hey, you better make this move or we're going to put you up there next. You got to do this or this is going to
Mhm.
happen. You better tell me the truth. I'm looking you in the eye." And it's like, yeah, you can do that with your kids or you could do that on the street somewhere, but in the Big Brother house,
Yeah.
you have to be kind of smooth with it.
Yeah. Even Izzy, the way
Getting it.
Izzy talked and had some of these conversations this week, I'm like, you are way too comfortable. Like, and if people feel like you feel like you're too safe, they're gonna look at that as a reason to target you.
Exactly. Chocolate said, "I have a feeling she run her husband too."
For in my Jared voice, for sure.
For sure. a, a 100,000%.
For sure.
1,000%. For sure. He cracks me up with that. Felicia sounds like that from Flavor of Like That. I remember the name. I'll
Who's
have to
like
look her
that?
up. I remember the name though. Like that. That's gonna make me curious.
I know.
Like that. I remember like major names. You watched Flavor of Love too, Ebony?
Of course, yes.
That was my jam. That was my show. It looked like they may have talked before they jumped. I'll have to see the clips of it. I know some Twitter pages will have the clips. Melanie, I don't know if you're trying to get on, but it shows your name, but it says device not connected. So it's not letting me add. 1,000%. 1,000. You know what though? Jared did get a wake up call. Oh, who's like
Hmm.
that? I don't really remember her. I'd have to actually see the clip. But I think Jared got a wake up call because I feel like before this week, Jared felt like the game was in the palm of his hands. Because
Hmm.
anytime someone came to him with some information, oh, I already know that. This person already told me that. Oh, I feel good. You're not good, but I feel like I'm good with this person. Like he felt so confident and sure about everything. And I think this dust up and shake up this week definitely is going to make him reevaluate his standing in the game.
Hmm. Yeah, and hopefully he uses his HOH better than Cameron did. So it's pretty much at this point probably him and Cirie against the rest of the house. So hopefully he can use this to kind of build
Yes.
relationships and pull some more numbers over there. I don't know who they would pull. Definitely maybe, Mimi, Felicia, maybe Bowie, because this week is going to be what, eight
He
people
needs to do
voting.
something that, yeah.
So you still need
Yeah,
five
so he needs
votes.
to do something that he's five. Yeah, exactly. So he needs to do something radical, which is being humble, which he doesn't really know how to do. So hopefully he's kind of like, hey, I know that we had a rough start or we had a rough week and we, got off on the wrong foot and all this stuff came out. But this is kind of like a reset. I want to
Hmm.
start new and fresh. I hope that Cirie talks to him and tells him like, you got to cool
Yeah.
down.
That's what I was going to
You
say.
got to.
The good thing about Jared having Cirie in the house is she helps him to course correct a lot. And so I could see her being like, okay, listen, you can't just talk to people like this. You're going to have to smooth this over. Even like before this week, we saw her really coaching him to build a relationship with Cameron and to make certain moves. So I could see her kind of sitting him down and like giving him one of those, mama talks. It's like, look, this is what you need to
Yes.
do. And he'll probably go do it begrudgingly, but he'll do it.
Yes. And that's how he's been whenever she talks to him. Like he's like, but I've said people don't necessarily understand the mother son dynamics because they're like, oh, it's an automatic advantage. Yes, it's an advantage that you have your number one, your ride or die that will never vote against you. Yes, that's an advantage. But sometimes the mother son dynamic comes out for real, where she
Yes.
wants to talk to him like she would talk to him in their household, and she has to hold that back.
Mm-hmm.
And same for him. Like we can't get turned up on each other like we would, because otherwise people will be like, why are they so heavily invested in each other like this?
Yes, yes. I'm surprised they haven't put it together. I kind of feel like people are going to figure it out eventually because this week they got so close. Like in conversations, Corey was like, listen, Cirie and Jared are a lot closer than I thought they were. They are connected. And even Jag said the same thing. So I'm just
Jack
waiting
said
for
it, Cam said it.
one. And it's funny because whenever people have these secrets, like even in BB23, like Xavier, I don't remember what he said he did. I think like a personal trainer or something. But at one point, someone was like, man, you should be a lawyer, So I kind of feel
Yeah,
like someone is going to be like, you guys look like you could be related. And it's like,
yeah. He said a bartender and a model. He said he was a bartender and a model.
that's what it was. Yes, a
And
bartender.
yeah,
Yes.
and then Big D of all people, Big D was the one who was like, no, he gives me lawyer. I think lawyer. Yeah, I think Xavier is a lawyer, and he just kept saying it the whole season.
Yes. But it's
Yeah,
like
I
that
think
every season. Even with Bowie, like, right? And so Bowie, they're like, Bowie saying she's 35, and they're like, she looks at least 45.
they read her for filth immediately. Isn't that her age too? Like 45?
Hmm.
I think she's actually 45, and they called her exact age.
Yes. Which is crazy. That's why I'm like, at some point, someone has to figure this out.
The live feed chat is being toxic as hell. I mean, you know how I think about the Big Brother community in general, to be honest with you. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're over there
I
dragging
mean,
them. I'm sure
yeah.
they're over there
Oh yeah, and
dragging
I know
them
that they're going.
because they're like, what? They didn't even last an hour. This is the worst house ever.
And they're gonna be furious that Jared won
Oh,
because
for
they want
sure.
him out so bad.
For
For
sure.
sure. I mean, I don't. Yeah, that's the truth too. Like when your elders talk to you show them respect. Like that's how I grew up.
Mhm.
Even if you think they're dead wrong, you just don't feel comfortable talking to them any kind of way.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like with Jared calling Felicia Mama Felicia or like Miss Felicia, I was like, that's not like we wouldn't look at that and think it's unusual because that's just kind of how we are, especially in the South. Like everyone that's older than me, even when I'm at work, everyone is always like Miss Vicky, Miss Sarah, because like you don't call people by their first name.
It's choppy for me.
It's clear on my end.
I don't know if it's choppy for anyone else, but hmm?
It's clear on my end.
It's clear on your end. Oh, so it's probably mine then. Okay. Um. Oh yeah, I know about the live feed chat room. I'm actually sometimes I actually comment in one of them. I comment in the Humillaverse one once in a while, but typically I just watch the feeds and I don't really pay attention to the chat. Once in a while I jump in the chat,
I rarely
but
look
I've only
at
been
the
here. Yeah,
yeah, I
I don't
rarely
plug into the community much.
I know. I used to be like when I first got into communities around Big Brother, I started with like Facebook groups. And even there, I was in like a lot of BB spoilers and things like that. And I quickly removed myself because they get so negative and like just in general, people go beyond just the game, right? And you can't be calling people's jobs, looking up their family members, leaking their personal information. Like that's just doing way too much.
That's too much. Yeah, that's too much for me. And it's almost like it forces me to say this because I try not to say this too much on my channel. But when I see the general feedback of the BB community, it's like they don't like black people. And I'm like, I don't understand the type of arguments that they be having. And there's so much race kind of stuff in those discussions that I can't even participate because it's so and I look at the people because I can see the profiles of who's making the comments and I'm like, no, I'm not going to engage in this because I don't want to get in that type of argument. I just want to talk about the
Hmm.
show
Hmm. Yeah, it can be interesting.
because they
And
hated Jared from the jump.
yeah, yeah. And that's
Jared didn't even do
why
anything at the beginning and they were yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's why I was so happy that we did have the cookout because before then, every season you may have had like one or two people of color, I'll say, even because like you would have one black person and sometimes you had no brown people at all, right? Except for what June 1 season 4, I think it was. But you typically had one person of color, or maybe you got two. You got one male person of color and one female person of color. And based on just how society operates, typically the people of color become easy targets to get out. Not only people of color, but people, older people, right? They're always normally the easy early targets. And so with the cookout, you finally had a chance for people to be like, look, if we stick together, we can go further in this game. And I think that that was needed because without that, I don't know. Well, we did have Taylor come the next season though too, but I don't know if we would
Yeah.
have got there when we did because typically how I saw as someone who's watched Big Brother since I think my first season was season 8, like someone who's watched Big Brother, I always when I saw a black person in the house, I would be like, "Oh, like they're going to be gone in a week or two." If they made it past the first week, I was rooting for them and I'm like, "Yay, like they lived to survive." But by that second week, their name is already out there, right? And so you know, okay, like this person doesn't have that much longer. And to someone who's not a person of color watching, they probably don't see it as anything other than like, oh, well, it's just a part of the game. But as someone who has a
Yes.
lived experience as a minority in American
Yeah.
society, you know that people judge you based on the color of your skin. And sometimes that's reason enough to say that you don't belong in certain spaces in the real world. And that kind of translates into the game as well.
Yes, it does. And it's interesting you said that because I was talking to Kirsten on her live, and she was mentioning that. She was like, this is just a microcosm of the what happens in the real world. She said, I actually tried to downplay myself. I tried to what was the other people's insecurities, like the other women especially. She was like, I tried to not make myself too beautiful looking or act too confident in myself because I knew they would automatically target me. And she was like, everything that I did, they still considered me the biggest threat, and they said I was doing too much and all of that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that you're right too about people who don't have that lived experience just seeing it as just game. Oh, they just didn't play the game well enough. But somebody from an outside
Mm-hmm.
lens is like, okay, there's a whole season, there's 16 house guests, there's like two people of color. The people of color intentionally don't work together because of like, if I'm seen with this, I'm talking about before 23. Because it's like, if I'm seen buddied up with this other person who I actually would connect with, we're probably going to go on the block together. So
Mm-hmm.
let's get in with the groups of these other non-people of color. You know what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a whole topic by itself. That's
Yes. Yes. And that's how you have to operate in society. Like even in the workplace, I remember like I used to work in tech, right? And in tech, typically it is a white male dominated space. And you typically have like those men that come in, do the water cooler talk every day, make inappropriate sexist jokes and things like that. And no one bats an eye, no one says anything about it. They can stand and talk in a group of three or four in front of the water cooler for hours. Hey, Lisa, and no one thinks twice about it. But as soon as you have like two people of color standing next to the water cooler talking, it's like, oh, well, what are they talking about? Are they conspiring? Like, are they plotting something? And it's like, we can't do the same thing that other people are doing and it be seen the same way. And then you have to think about, well, why is that, right? And so I told you, offline when we were talking about my experience working in HR, and that's why I left, because HR is supposed to be for the people and protect you from these type of situations. But working in HR, I saw firsthand how you have these rules and regulations in place, but people still find ways to get around those rules to hire the people that they want to hire, put people in positions they want to put in positions, discriminate against certain people because of not only color, because of age and things like that as well.
oh, you're preaching right now. That's what's happening. I I had a situation with HR, which I'm not going to talk too much about, but I'll talk about it in general terms, where I had an experience with, to me, obvious racism and microaggressions and whatever. And the HR person that was assigned to my case was a black lady, and she spoke to me very candidly, like more candidly than she should. And she told me flat out, you're not going to win this case. She said, I've seen so many of these cases, and unless you have some kind of really damning evidence where they called you something that you have on record, verbally or in the
Right.
chat or something, or there's some kind of really clear trail, they're just going to say you guys have communication issues, and then they're gonna have you guys have some kind of mediation or whatever, and they're gonna close the
Yes, and
case.
that's the thing.
And she was like, so I just want you to know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, go
thing.
ahead.
So, like anyone, I'm telling you now, at your company, your HR department will come in there and tell you, we're here if you need us. At the end of the day, HR is designed to protect managers and supervisors. It's designed to protect the bottom line and to protect the company. Most of the rules that are written are to protect managers, right? So that's why they have like employee mediation services. So hopefully you can resolve conflict and issues within the company before you decide to go to EEOC and go outside the company and bring in a third
Yes.
party. And so, and when you go to HR, it's not what you say happened, it's not how you feel. It is literally based on what you can prove. And when I say prove, you need some hard evidence.
Yeah.
You need to have witnesses that can back up your story, your claims of what happened. You need to have a paper trail of this happened this day at this time. These people were there to see it. You have to have hard evidence if you are going to take a case against your manager or supervisor. And if you don't, then all that's going to do, and you know, companies have policies against retaliation and things like that. But at the end of the day, they're just going to retaliate in a way that they can. So you could have been coming into work late every day for the last 6 years that you've been there, and no one has ever said a thing. But now that you filed this claim, guess what? The next day that you're late, they're going to document that, hey, you were late today, Mark. You know you're supposed to be here at 8. You got here at 8:10. This is a warning. The next time, Mark, you were late, I'm going to have to write you up, right? And then so you have this progressive disciplinary action for your tardiness, which it really is just retaliation.
You don't know that you're like almost literally you're not the same details, obviously, but you're literally describing my situation to me.
I've seen it a
In the
million
middle
times.
of after this HR thing, I got a write-up for something that I didn't get in trouble for that happened a month and a half earlier. And the reason that I was given, because I put in another report and said that was retaliation. And it was like, the manager says to me, oh, I put it in a month and a half ago, but it takes this long process of approval and paperwork or whatever for it to go through. So it just went through now. And I'm like, oh, so it just went through a day after the case was closed, but it happened 6 weeks ago and you never said anything at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And the rule was not even like a tardiness rule. It was a very arbitrary thing. Like when I asked the HR rep, I'm like, would you give somebody a write-up for that? They said, well, me personally, I probably wouldn't, but it's manager's discretion. And I was like, all right, I see what's happening here. I'm behind the 8 ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
The policy. Oh, you can read that one.
Exactly, Ebony. The policies are 99% there for the company's protection. Yes, absolutely. I've witnessed some crazy I know it. I've even been asked to testify for a company, but I refuse to lie or yeah. And they will do that too. They will give employees incentives to kind of navigate, you know, their experience in their favor. I've seen people like, oh, you know, we can give you a promotion, bonuses, parking spaces. You would be surprised.
I need to have you hop on my other channel. This is a whole other topic that needs this is so interesting.
We could I could talk about this all day because like I went into HR because I've always been very passionate about helping specifically women and people of color increase their salaries because my mission was to decrease the wealth gap, right? Decrease that salary gap, but it was really something I thought it's better to do from the inside, and it was not that. Once I was in there, I was like, wait, this is the problem.
Yeah. You kind of saw it from behind the curtains at that point.
Mhm.
Were you ever involved in mediation?
No, I didn't do any mediation. We had, so within my HR department, we actually kind of had four different departments within that. And so employee
Associate.
mediation was a completely separate department.
Yeah, and
They
ours
did
is called
mediations and grievances.
yeah, and ours is called associate relations. Oh
Hmm.
my goodness, it left so much to be desired because I initially did not do a complaint. I did not file a complaint. I did a coaching request because they had that option, like coaching request. So the coaching request was like, oh, so what are you doing and what are they doing? All right, so you guys just need to communicate better. So just request a meeting with the manager and list out the ways that you need them to communicate with you and tell them the ways that ask them their best communication style and whatever. And I was told by somebody, one of my coworkers actually, who's been working way longer than me, that communication issues is the go-to thing that they always say.
Hmm.
Oh, you
It
guys have
is.
yeah, it
It
is.
is, but it is also typically, I would say 90% of issues that happen, conflict within organizations, is communication and expectations, right? So most of the time you have managers that don't have any managerial experience, they don't have leadership qualities because they've just been kind of given these positions. And so
Mhm.
they don't know how to manage people. And like even I'm in a Facebook group for like Black women in tech, and I know someone posted a question and they're like, well, I just got a management role and I'm not good with people, right? And she was like, I don't know what to do in this situation. And I'm like, well, number one, as a manager, you're going to have to get good with people. You have to
Yeah,
learn how to manage different working styles. You're going to have employees that are not my jobbers, is what I like to call them. And that's that person who's going to come to work and do their job and their job only. Don't
bare
ask
minimum.
them to do something that's outside of their job description because they're not going to do it right. And then you
Yeah,
have those people who are I call them quit and stayers. They're the people who they come to work, they show up, but they don't really contribute much when they're there. They're just there to get the paycheck.
yeah,
So it's like they're there for the paycheck, but they've already kind of quit mentally, right? So you have to learn, how do you get those people motivated to actually do work and to show up in their role.
yeah, yeah. Nowadays they made a term for that. They call that silent quitting or something like that. They said
Hmm.
that especially a
Well,
lot of people. Yeah,
I'm here for that though. I'm here for quiet quitting,
quiet
but
quitting. Yeah,
not necessarily not doing your job, because if you're hired for a job, you should do the roles and responsibilities that you're responsible for, right? But where I'm for quiet quitting is most corporations, especially in America, they underhire. So they expect you to fill the role of about two or three people, and you can't take vacation because you're the only person
yeah,
in that role. And then if you do take vacation, the work is piled up when you come back because no one was there to cover it, right? So with quiet quitting, how
hmm,
I view it is more so when employers want you. Like I remember when I was a manager as a database administrator, and my I was salaried, so my director, I reported directly to the director. He basically told me, like, as a manager, I expect all my managers to work 60 hours per week. And there were times when I literally worked from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 p.m. and I was salaried. So regardless of how many hours I worked, I still
oh,
got paid the same. And so you have a lot of managers that have, a lot of companies in general that have that mindset that, you're supposed to work as long as you need to work to get the job done. That even though they give you 2 weeks of vacation every year, they don't really want you to take it, right? Have you ever seen the side eyes you get for taking a vacation at work?
yeah,
Like people
man.
like, girl,
Yes, yes. How
the
dare you take?
audacity. Uh,
What are we supposed to do without you for a week? Come on.
Yes, but I'm for quiet quitting because it's more so taking a stand and setting boundaries to say, no, I'm not going to be slaving for 60 hours per week. You hired me to work 40 hours per week. You're going to get 40 hours per week. No, I'm not going to do my job plus your job and Sally's job and Jason's job too, unless you want to pay me for those jobs, right? And so to me, I think it's more so setting boundaries so that there's more work life balance and you actually have a life outside of work versus you just your whole life is dedicated to your job. Because I know that was me for a long time. Like I literally day in and day out, all I did was work. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
No,
Small
you know what
companies.
happened to me one time?
Yes.
So this previous job, I can say that because I would never go back to that company. They hired me at a role. I was working at this one location 5 days a week. Everything was fine. Then they said somebody quit on them on the spot at this other location that had my
Mm-hmm.
same role. So they said, "Hey, we need you to like fill a gap temporarily while we go through a hiring process at this place because we have clients that need to be seen and we don't want them to be left high and dry without a counselor." So the other location, the location I signed up for was like 10-minute drive from my house, right there. Nice area. I liked it. That was a big factor to me choosing the job. The other place was like an hour and change away from me, rough area. It was just like I didn't want to be over there, but because I wanted to keep the job, I was like, okay, I'll do that. They're like, oh, thank you for the
Mm-hmm.
flexibility. We're gonna have you over there for a month. So they had me 3 days at my main location and 2 days at this other location. So I'm thinking I'm getting in better standing because they're like, okay, this guy's going in two spots. He's helping us fill this gap. After like 2 to 3 weeks, they're starting to talk to me about my caseload at the other spot. They're like, oh, you got to build up this caseload. This is unacceptable that you're only seeing this amount of clients and this and that and the other. And I'm like, but I have my caseload requirements that I'm reaching at the location you hired me for, and I'm taking on this extra project that wasn't in my contract, and they're throwing the company values at me. Flexibility is
Mm-hmm.
one of the core values of the company, blah blah blah. Long story short, they kept doing this and they kept pushing me. I asked them for a raise because I'm like, I'm doing two jobs here, two spots. And one of them is a lot of distance and travel and gas money and stuff and tolls. So they told me no. Like basically now they're telling me that's your permanent role. And I'm like, okay, so I quit. I gave them my 2 week notice. Before I finished my 2 weeks, maybe like 3 days after I gave them my letter of resignation, I came into work and there was a guy in there. And they said, oh, this is your replacement and we want to have you train him. And I'm like, oh, all of a sudden there's a guy. You know, a hiring process is not like that where I could quit and you just
Mm-hmm.
have a guy. You had the guy, you had a roster probably of people that you are already interviewing and putting through the paperwork and all that process for just in case you pushed me over the edge. And then they're like, oh, he wants to leave. Boom. Check the list. Okay, we got this guy. And they threw him in there.
Mm-hmm. And then
That was
also
probably
too, they probably didn't have an incentive to actually hire somebody in that role because they're like, well, we could just have Mark do it and Mark will do it. And then it goes back to the whole, being a minority in the workplace where oftentimes we are the ones that are the most overworked. And I know like even when I started
and
like doing my
called the
own
laziest.
independent, yeah. Even when I started doing my own independent consulting, like on the side, I used to feel bad sometimes because I'm like, I'm starting to slack off a little bit, not spend as many hours at work because I'm trying to work on building my business. And then I thought about it and I was like, Ebony, you do 10 times more than everybody in here, including our director. So I was like, if I want to fall back a little bit, everyone else is just going to have to start carrying their own workload instead of coming to me for everything. So I started giving everybody a notepad. And every time, and one thing I noticed in the workplace, especially in tech, you have a lot of people that don't like to do their job. So they get other people to do it. And so there was a lot of employees that every day was like their first day. It was like 51st dates, right? Every day they're asking me the same question. Ebony, how do I do this? How do I do this? And so I was like, go get your notepad, right? And it was almost like Dora the Explorer. Notebook, notebook. Go get your notebook, write these
Mm-hmm.
notes down, and then I'll walk you through it, take notes step by step. And then the next day they come back, ask me the same question. I'm like, well, where's your notes? Go get your notebook. Right.
I'm
Let's
still
look
here,
at your
by the way.
notes. Okay. Look at your notes. Let's figure out what step you missed. Maybe we need to update your notes or something so that you can do this on your own because I'm not going to do it for you. And that's how you have to be.
Right.
Yeah, Lisa, I want to address Lisa's comment for a second too. So, Lisa, right now I'm an online business manager and I work with a lot of like tech startups, small business owners, entrepreneurs, and they are definitely the worst. Like a lot of them have no business tact and skills, and they do a lot of illegal things, number one, and they don't know like how to hire people, right? So, for example, in the entrepreneur world, for sure, I see a lot of people who are like, oh, I need to hire a virtual assistant. And then they'll say, oh, I need a virtual assistant that can build websites, that's going to do my email marketing and all my social media content. And then they're also going to manage my schedule and make sure I show up to appointments. And I'm like, first of all, this is 4 different roles. Like, you need a social media manager, you need a copywriter, you need an email marketer. Like, you can't expect one VA to be skilled in all of these different things. Like, yeah, you can say, I want to find a VA who's tech savvy, or I want to find a VA that's good at email marketing. But finding someone who has all of those skills is going to be very rare. Like, you have to figure out what roles and what skills do you need from someone, and then kind of define your role. Yes, and minimum wage.
It's funny because they even do that with things like retail. Because I remember my last retail job before becoming a counselor. I remember they called my job MCA. It was I was working in the Sears men's department. They called it MCA. That standing for merchandising and customer assistance. And all that meant was that you were hired and you were doing a combination of stocking the floor, managing the floor, like organizing the shelves and all that stuff, and doing customer service at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Apartment, and they just an hour at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But large companies are doing the same type of thing.
Yeah, it needs to be reformed all the way
My
across the
in my
board.
field, like yeah, like in my field, what they do is they'll hire X amount of counselors and then give them caseloads that are double and triple what they should be. And
Mm-hmm.
then they'll be like, why are you behind on your notes? You know, you only made this amount of appointments this week. What's going on? How come your
Mm-hmm.
what's it called? Care plans aren't done? And it's like, well, we're dealing with humans here. So if I have to see 75 different humans in a week who are telling me about their family issues or their grieving or their work issues sometimes or whatever, sibling, girlfriend, husband, whatever it is, and you are taking that in, that's a job in and of itself. So you got
Mm-hmm.
to give a caseload number that allows for that human sliding scale where I'm going to be, I can't just take on that stuff unlimited and then just bang out the notes and give you what you want so that you can hire only X amount of employees. It happens in every field. It happens in every field. But I definitely had to get you on to talk about just that.
Yes,
you know, you got a
I could
lot
talk
of things
about
in there with your experiences.
that.
Is this a new comment? Oh yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah, I'm an online business manager, so I pretty much just operate as an independent consultant.
I might need that. Shoot. Your people aren't just numbers to you. I know. And the thing too, Lisa, is a lot of times now that I've been in the social work field for like a decade, I used to just think, why do they hire these heartless robots that you just come in and they're like not even looking at you and they're pushing their note or whatever. Sometimes they don't come into the field like that, and these numbers and these notes and these caseloads that eventually they're like, you know what? Fine. I'm not going to dedicate this kind of attention because I can't give the people that level of care and give you all the numbers and stuff that you want. So I'm just going to be like, check, 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 check. I'm not even going to look up at you while you're talking to me. Check, check, check. And the field, the crunch of the expectations on the administrative side just sucks the soul out of people. I've been there.
Well, America.
I felt so bad. I was at a job like that where.
No, I was just gonna say America is so capitalistic, anyways, right? Everything is about the bottom line and the bottom dollar. Like, how much money are we making, and how much more money can we make? I think you're frozen, Mark.
Yes.
Oh, you're back.
Can we?
I think.
Where can we make cuts? Yeah, can you hear
frozen.
me? Oh, it's probably my computer. My computer's been funny for the last 2 days. I got to figure that out. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You can hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
Sorry about that. What were you saying? What were you saying when it froze? You said America is
talking. Oh, I was saying that America is very. Yeah, so before that, I was saying America is very capitalistic. It's all about how much money can we make in their bottom dollar.
Trying to.
I think we lost him. It's the Ebony takeover.
Ebony take.
Are you back, Mark? I thought you were switching over to your phone, but maybe not. There you go.
No. Yes.
Yes.
I can see you. I can't hear you though. Hold on. Say something.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. No. It's not working for me.